Hi there, now we read lesson 240. Fear is not justified in any form. Paragraph 1. Fear is deception. It attests that you have seen yourself as you could never be, and therefore look upon a world which is impossible. Not one thing in this world is true. It does not matter what the form in which it may appear. It witnesses but to your own illusions of yourself. Let us not be deceived today. We are the sons of God. There is no fear in us, for we are each a part of love itself. So let's talk about not one thing in this world is true. The world that we perceive from our ego, nothing about it is true because it is always seen through the lens of the past. It is seen through fear. It is seen as something that can take from us or give to us because it is seen from a place of lack. So nothing that we see in the world through the eyes of the ego will ever be true or real. For us to begin to see the world that God created, which is this beautiful planet that is whole and perfect and complete and abundant, we need to remove the filters. We need to take off the glasses of beliefs, these ideas, perceptions about you owe me something or I've got what you need for you to be happy. Those beliefs color our world, so we cannot see the world that God created, which is pure. It is a world where everybody shares, everybody cares, everybody loves one another, everybody uplifts one another. It truly is heaven on earth. We haven't had experiences of that, so it's hard for most of us to imagine what that could be. When you begin to see everybody through the eyes of compassion, through the eyes of forgiveness, the world really begins to change. What is being done that is not nice begins to be a call for love that brings us into action, that brings us into the place of forgiveness. And that begins to restore the world that God created to our sight, because we're seeing it through our third eye, through the eyes of Christ inside of us. We see it with a vision that is grander than what the physical eyes alone can see. Paragraph 2, this is the prayer. How foolish are our fears. Would you allow your son to suffer? Give us faith today to recognize your son and set him free. Let us forgive him in your name, that we may understand his holiness and feel the love for him, which is your own as well. Yes, how foolish our fears, but when we look back in time and we can begin to see that generation after generation going backwards have been living from fear, have been perpetuating those fears and passing them down, we begin to recognize that this world that we live in, the things that we see, have taken decades, thousands and thousands of years to come into the fruition that we're experiencing it as. And the reason there is suffering in this world is because people who believed in lack thousands of years ago, tens of thousands of years ago, 30,000 years ago, began to create systems, legal systems, medical systems, control systems, prison systems, justice systems, over years and years and years and years, thousands of years, that we all have bought into. The way family should be, the way marriage should be, the way things are supposed to happen, who has, who doesn't have. And we have bought into that, not questioning it. And those lack-based systems that are founded in keeping people fearful and insecure, so that you need those systems, so that you vote for those who will give you something, have been veils, have been distortions, have been blocks to our awareness of the truth that God has placed in our heart. So one of the things that we need to do today to begin to see the world shifting is taking responsibility for the world out there has no power over us. And then we educate ourselves. What is the most loving thing that we want to see? What is the most loving thing that we can possibly do? How do we bring love to the medical community? How do we bring love to the government? How do we bring love to families, to the education system, to our neighbors, to anything and everything that is happening? How do we become bringers of love? Well, first we've got to acknowledge that it is inside of us. exactly where God placed it, because fears are foolish. God made us a part of itself, which means we are the presence of love. How can we fear if we knew nothing was missing? Our wholeness is guaranteed by God, and we have everything inside of us to share and help one another. And if we begin to acknowledge our wholeness, there will be no way any of us will be feeling fear from the outside that will make us dependent, codependent on things that the world is trying to make us buy into. Like that we're separate, we should fear one another, hierarchy, that somebody knows better than we do, that only the government has the right to tell us what to do. When we find our power inside, we will become the change that this world needs. We will become the compassionate, kind ones that move out to be the teachers, the coaches, join the forces, become the armed forces, to change the military, to turn it into a system for peace that enters into politics, that becomes those who participate in local boards and changes things, become doctors that are compassionate and look for alternative methods, become trainers, physical trainers that tell people to harness the energy in their bodies and not just get caught up in diets and crazy exercising, but rather find that well-being that is already innately inside of us. What we're doing here with A Course in Miracles is changing everything. But to change everything out there, you got to change everything inside. You want to see a different world? Become a person who understands that the world has no power over you. That will make you different. Get to know that God is your ally, God is your friend, God is your partner, your beloved bridegroom, or your beloved I can't even think of words to describe what God is for us if we just simply allow ourselves to receive that God is our partner, because God is in us. God is what we are made of. I get excited sometimes. Thank you for allowing me to do that. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks. Bye-bye.